What's your favorite question to ask someone to get to know them better? If you were a monkey, what kind of monkey would you be? Do you think a hot dog is a sandwich? Do you like turtles? How many golf balls can you fit in your mouth? My record is 9. What's your favorite book? What that ass do? FMK, tacos, burgers, pizza. What's your favorite bridge? Who is your daddy and what does he do? Hey, quick question, no big deal. Do Black Lives Matter? Do you stand or sit to wipe? Best to ask to a group of people who know each other a bit. All hell breaks loose. If you woke up and had no idea how old you were, how old would you think you were? Late to the party here, but wanted to share too. Whilst a lot of open-ended questions here are great, they feel too interview-like. They also aren't super conducive if talking to someone more reserved, as something like what's something great about you / what do you want people to know about you is something very braggy sounding. I quite like asking someone about the origin of their name. Either why their parents named them, or / and the meaning of their name. It gives you some great avenues into other areas. Either into their childhood, they talk about their parents. Their culture, especially with names that use characters like Chinese names, but also in terms of heritage and what ancestors may have done if you include surname. Their personality, are they like what their name means? Their values, is what their name means something that think is good? Everyone should be able to answer this question, as it's about their name and it's not something deeply private per se that someone may not want to share. The other great thing about this is that it allows the other person to ask the same question back, or can be mirrored by you, and can be answered by you without bragging or seeming to compete. Oh, your superpower is being able to do X, well, I can do Y. If your social security number was how old you were, and your credit card number was the amount of money you had, how old and how rich would you be? What is your definition of love? What's your favorite 80s movie? Reading this thread reminded me how bad I am at actual conversations. If only I were allowed to think for an hour before giving my answers, then maybe I'd be okay. Frown. Questions around food. What do you regularly eat? I want to know if they cook or how they get their daily meals, as well as the type of food they eat. I don't know why, but this gives me a good idea of the whole person. Damn, you shit with that ass. Would you let me hold your hand if I pay? Works flawlessly. What's your favorite scary movie? If you poop and plan to go to shower afterwards, do you wash your hands? What's your favorite color and why? It might sound dumb, but I get the most interesting and informative answers 9 times out of 10. It's even a part of my voicemail message. Leave your name, number, and favorite color and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Turns out your intimidating boss isn't so scary after you hear him adorably describe why an exact shade of green is his favorite. My mom's favorite color is fuchsia or magenta, and hearing her say it so excitedly every time, gives me joy. Even telemarketers leave their favorite color sometimes, and I like to think it makes them smile. It's less about the specific color and more about what they say. Are they really specific? Is it something you didn't expect? Does their reason have something to do with a certain memory? It's a somewhat silly but beautiful jumping off point, no matter how well you know someone. Don't be too cool to ask someone their favorite color. What is your opinion about anime? If they straight up laugh at me or ridicule my hobby by saying people who watch anime are immature / childish, my interest to that person will descend eternally. It's okay if we don't share anime as commonality between us, but I won't accept any person mocking my personality or way of thinking because of it. Do you know how to use chopsticks? Saving this for some small talk. Do you think human nature is inherently good or evil? First, you can learn so much from how they often dissect the question. Do they want clarification? Do they pick some third option or avoid answering the question? But what the answer really ends up being is their views on their own nature. The only answer that makes me nervous is good question, what do you think? I live in Los Angeles and my family on both sides have been here roughly 100 years, which is super uncommon as the area is filled with immigrants and transplants. I love asking people what caused them or their family to come here. It's always an interesting story whether it was their choice, a parent's, or someone farther down the family tree. What is your story? It's amazing how some people lists facts about them. And some share defining experiences about themselves right off the bat. Asking what the last book they read often is pretty revealing. Tell me about your favorite food experience. If you were spontaneously called up on stage to give a TED Talk, what would it be about? Are you anti-vax? Are you anti-abortion? Are you anti-LGBTQ+? Are you anti-mask? I always ask people to tell me their favorite joke. You can learn a lot about a person by their sense of humor. Can you do your best Borat impression? Works every time. I just shut up and let them speak because I can't keep up a convo. How do you like your steak cooked? My best friend is a big fan of So What's Your Thing? It works because it's silly and usually gets them laughing, but also so open-ended that they can't respond with "oh, I don't really have hobbies" or whatever. Everyone has a thing. What's the topic that you could give a spontaneous TED Talk about? That highlights their interests/passions, and gives them an opportunity to talk about it to you too. The fuck? I don't want to get to know people more. What's your favorite TED Talk? Are you more of a craft beer person or a red wine person? Typically when vetting for similar like-minded people/potential friends, I like to ask if they have kids or not. If they do, I immediately know that it's likely not going to work out as they get to spend 24/7 taking care of mini-me's and likely won't be able or willing to put the amount of time and effort into a relationship/friendship as I can. I also can't stand it when adults lose their identity and can't seem to talk about anything but their kids' Pee-wee League or piano recital. Like, cool Karen, but where's your personal identity/hobbies and interests? You know, like, before you lost your entire identity to never-ending self-imposed responsibility? Who are you? I worked with a woman who was amazing at really getting to know people. We worked in a bakery and we would just talk all day. One day, when I hadn't even known her a week, the first thing she says to me in the morning was, "What is your greatest fear?" We talked about our fears for 8 hours straight, and when we went home that night we hugged. We felt like real friends after that. She died a few years ago of cancer and I still think about that conversation sometimes. You're in a desert walking along in the sand when all of a sudden you look down, and you see a tortoise. It's crawling toward you. You reach down, you flip the tortoise over on its back. The tortoise lays on its back, its belly baking in the hot sun, beating its legs trying to turn itself over, but it can't, not without your help. But you're not helping. Why is that? Do you smoke? On a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you like scales from 1 to 10? I interview a ton of people and I always ask, what did you listen to on your way into the interview? It shows if people will be honest because it catches them off guard. They react genuinely. I can pretty much tell if you're being super honest or bullshitting me. Then it's interesting to see 1. Is there intent? 2. Is it hype or mellow? 3. If a lie, then why do they guess what I would want to hear or what is socially acceptable? Talk about a great way to break down someone's bullshit shield. Damn, reading through these responses and all I can say is that if a stranger came up to me like I'm in an inquisition asking all these damn questions, I'd run out of there so fast you'd need Usain Bolt to catch me. How often do you reflect on your own impermanence? Would you rather have tentacles for arms or eagle talons for feet, and why? What would you do with your life if you didn't have to work? It's the best way to hear about people's true passions, and also a constant reminder for why we need you. Tell me something I don't know. This often stumps people, until I clarify that it can be anything I don't know: their middle name, their b-day, literally anything minor about them. It's fun and I find it very telling of their personality with what they chose to tell me: upside down face. Are those real? What's something you like to talk about that you don't get the chance to enough? Who is your favorite Ninja Turtle? You'd be surprised at how much you can learn about someone based on their answer.
With